What up? What up? What up? What's going on out there, America? What's going on? What's your boy? It's Rod. It's Don. We are in the building. Welcome to another fine, great, powerful episode of Brooklyn Beards and Ball Sports Show. Listen, we got so much to talk about because there's a real happy guy. My co-host is smiling. You're gonna see a lot of that teeth today, a lot of enamel. It's gonna just be
Right.
flossing. You know what I mean? He got a lot to smile about, but I ain't mad at him. You know what I'm saying? Go on, let him enjoy the victory. It's all good. But before we get into Don's teeth and his gloat and all that stuff about his 49ers, we gonna definitely ask you to do us a favor. We need you to subscribe, hit that like button, please share this thing. All right, YouTube, Facebook, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure you comment. Make sure you get a part of all of this stuff here. We talk
Yes,
about
sir.
sports, we talk about the culture, and we get it in. So subscribe, like, share. All right, Brooklyn Beards and Ball Sports Show. It's about to get on. How we doing, D?
Oh man, it's all good, man. Listen, what can we say about a team that has already clinched their division and is hosting a playoff game?
Yeah,
One
yeah,
of us
yeah.
can't say that about their team, but
Not yet. Well, we'll
uh,
clinch. We'll clinch. We'll clinch on Sunday. Well, we will clinch. We'll clinch. I hope.
right, right. But yeah, let's. It's going to be a good show. Let's get into it.
Let's get it.
Week 15. Week 15 is already here. Let's talk
Already
about
here, man.
some NFL games. Okay, well, listen. To no surprise, at
Yeah.
least from this side of the show, that the 49ers were once again victorious. 7 games in a row. 7 in a row, right? Uh, Obviously, the big question mark was how is Brock Purdy going to hold up on a road game, and actually a pretty difficult place to play. I mean, Seattle is. We've had our issues playing in Seattle, and they have the 12th man, and all of that was neutralized yesterday. Brock Purdy, who up until the game, 90 minutes before the game started, was almost he was a game time decision because he had a rib and oblique injury. And so
Right.
it was questionable if he was going to play. He had that questionable distinction all week
Mm-hmm.
on a short week, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so when it came time to play, they said Brock Purdy was going to start. And did he ever? Did he ever? I think teams need to be really
Yo.
concerned about coming to Santa Clara for a playoff game. So, I mean, you look at the offense, right? Kittle
Yeah.
got involved a lot more than he has been, right? Of course, CMC had a fantastic game. Fantastic. He had, I think, a total of 26 carries and something like eight receptions or something to that effect. But in any case, he had over 100 yards, a touchdown. We looked dominant as ever. I think Brock, as far as Brock is concerned, you got to give a lot of encouragement. You got to be encouraged by what you see the defense doing. D'Amico Ryans is doing a phenomenal job. He should definitely be up for a coaching job, and that would be three in a row. That's all we do. We win and we churn out good coaches. Talk about coaching trees. We don't have a coach that's staring up at the jumbotron. We have coaches that this is we manufacture winners, we manufacture coaches, and yeah, we'll take. I don't want him to leave, but look at it. You got Robert Saleh doing his thing with the Jets. You got McDaniel doing his thing with the Dolphins, and we had to, show them, who daddy was 2 weeks ago. So, and now you have D'Amico, who is very, very possibly the way he has that defense playing, he has to be up for a job. What do you say?
Well, I mean, no, he's good, but you know how it can be. These coordinators. I mean, at least get a shot for a job. I agree, but a lot of times, you gotta really think it through because sometimes these coordinators don't translate well into head coaches. But he is African American, and you know how we are big on that, and we believe we need to see more of them on the sideline as head coaches anyway. So yes, I do think he definitely qualifies to at least be interviewed, looked at, explored for a possibility as a head coach. No question about it. No, he's doing his thing. The defense is good, but you know what? I want to just kind of run down this. I'm going to take my few minutes here, D, to talk about the San Francisco 49ers. You won your division. You guys are set. You're established now. And you're seeding and stuff, obviously, so you still got some more to play for. But I want to talk about this number one ranked defense. Looks good, very physical. You guys, I think on every level of the defense, that unit is very, very good. And the physicality is good. Look, I actually thought the Seahawks were going to win yesterday. Some way, somehow, as an upset, or at least play y'all tough enough, get somebody scared, get Purdy under pressure a little bit. Didn't happen. I texted you and told you it was over. And I was like, midway through the first quarter, it was pretty much over, and the score is not even indicative. Right? If you woke up the next morning, look at that score, you're like, okay, look like they played them kind of tough. Not a chance. I mean, Geno's just throwing the ball down on the ground. He's running for his life. I mean, he looked bad. But here's the thing. When you look at this defense, okay, and I understand you play who you play, all right? But when you look at the teams that the 49ers, that defense has played, okay, you guys at the Bears, obviously with Trey Young, but I'm talking about the San Fran defense versus some good offenses, okay? Trey Lance, I'm sorry, my apologies. Trey Lance, right? You beat the Seahawks week 2, okay? You lost to the Broncos, all right? But again, the defense held them to 10 to 11 points, all right? The Rams, not even worth discussing. Panthers, no offense, at least at that time, right? Falcons, we're not even going to talk about that. Though you guys lost that game, and you lost to the Chiefs. Now you got healthy, right? So now you started winning. You beat a lowly Ram team again. You beat the Chargers barely, and they didn't even have their best 2 receivers at that time. The Saints have no offense. The Cardinals had no offense. So between the Dolphins and basically the Panthers, the Dolphins and the Chiefs, those are only really two good offenses that the 49ers have actually faced. That's it. You guys haven't really faced any real threatening offenses. And mind you, you beat the Dolphins, which you shut them out, right? We had the luxury of seeing that, live. But then, you lost to the Chiefs. So and then the Buccaneers, that's laughable. And last night was laughable. It will be interesting to see come next week with the Commanders and even the Raiders, as bad as they are, but they do have weapons, right? And we know Josh Jacobs is running the ball really well. So I would be interested to see these last few games are going to be really interesting for the 49ers. Playing opponents that got some defense in the Commanders, which is top 10, and then you got some weaponry there with Josh McDaniels. If he can get those guys, they've been playing well before last week. They won 3 in a row before they took an L last Sunday. But I would like to see. There's still the verdict is still out. But I'm gonna say this. With that being said, and I don't mean to sound duplicitous here. With that being said, I still think the 49ers are the best team in the NFC. And I'm gonna go on record again. And again, because I'm an intelligent Cowboy fan, right? And I've always told you this. I do not want to see the San Francisco 49ers, not in the first round. Now, eventually in the playoffs, we're gonna have to see you guys. Not in the first round, though. But the 49ers look good, D. You ought to be happy. So,
listen.
Go on and show your teeth. It's
please don't try to give us backhanded compliments. While you were talking, I had an opportunity to look over your schedule real quick.
Okay.
So the Buccaneers that we held to 7 points beat you. And held you to 3 points, right? So that was 19-3. Is that correct?
Yes,
okay.
That's correct.
Go ahead. Then we go to the Packers. We go to the Packers, right?
You skipped the whole. You going to skip 2 months of football and go right to the Packers?
I just want to highlight your losses. I'm not.
Oh, you want to highlight the losses? Okay.
Yeah.
I went over the wins against what I believe.
No. But it's
formidable opponents,
right? But you were trying to make it seem like we beat a whole bunch of nobodies. And if that's the case, if you think that we're pretenders, right? Come see us.
Listen. We're gonna definitely see y'all.
See us.
But my point is that your defense is good, but you haven't really. you haven't really played a really good offense. Like the team, we beat Cincinnati, we beat Cincinnati with a backup quarterback.
So in 2 weeks, right? The last 2 weeks, we held two teams, two potential playoff teams. One's a divisional winner, a divisional leader. One was in the hunt. We held those to a combined 13 points, right? The Texans last week, we can only go by our last. You have to update your resume, right? People use that a lot of times, right?
Right.
So we're going to base off of how we played yesterday. And we both agree it was never close. It was Seattle never had a chance.
No, they never had a chance. I agree.
You guys played the Texans last week, and we'll go by the last game you played. Yeah. The Texans are 1-10-1.
1-11-1.
1-11-1, even worse. Yeah. And you barely won 27-23. So what does that say about your team? And just like you have a Micah Parsons syndrome. Worry about your team, right? Because Micah Parsons wants to talk about I
that was taken out of context.
No.
Miller asked him about the Eagles, and they're talking on a podcast about sports, and he brings up the Eagles.
Right.
Micah volunteered information about
right,
Jalen Hurts.
But if you say I saw Micah Parsons' lips moving. Now, if someone else was actually saying it, Micah Parsons says, is it Jalen Hurts or is it the system? Which speaks to the fact that he thinks that Jalen Hurts is not all that. Even though, I mean, by most people's estimation, he is the lead for the MVP. I mean, his numbers speak for themselves. And the good thing is, just like when we were about to play Miami, and Jeff Wilson and Mostert were talking smack prior to the game, right? And they left with their tail between their legs. Right. This is going to be a very similar situation. Micah Parsons is going to have to back up that exactly what he says.
Oh, he definitely can.
Well, he's been very quiet over the last couple of weeks.
The reason is I mean, again, it's
is he holding out for Christmas Eve?
Well, maybe so. But Micah, Micah brings the heat. He brings the heat, and he's actually playing injured. Now, a lot of snaps he don't play during the game. Okay, and he gets double and triple team a lot, so he has been a little quiet in recent weeks.
Does Nick Bosa get double team?
Nick Bosa
get you don't know his name?
Oh,
Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
he doesn't get double team, triple team.
Yeah, he gets.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he gets.
He gets. Yeah, I know he gets. He gets sacks on the quarterback. He gets fumble recoveries. That's exactly what he gets.
Listen, Bosa is a beast. The defense is good. The point I'm making is that y'all haven't really, and we'll see it in the playoffs. You haven't really faced, I would say, offense that is creative enough to be able to at least match the 49ers defense. It's a it's a really good defense. No question about it. No question. I'm not here to knock the defense, but what I'm saying, when you put it in context of the teams y'all played and teams you shut out in second halves, outside of Miami, there's nothing really impressive because the Buccaneers is trash offensively, as were the Cardinals trash, as are the Seahawks, and the Saints, forget about it. I mean, they're playing with 4 quarterbacks. So I'm saying there is no, I mean, the test isn't truly there yet until we get in the playoffs. But again, you beat who's in front of you, and you beat them like you should beat them. And so it's all good. And everybody takes a bad L in the season. Again, y'all lost to the Broncos 11-10. 11-10. That's a baseball score for all intents and purposes. But, nevertheless. I
love the way you highlight that. Let's move on to the next game, all right? Because, when you win your division, you don't really have to. You're not in the hunt. You're not a wild card. You already know what you're going to do when the playoff starts. Do you know what your team is? It's 10 p.m. Do you know what your team's going to do? Your team is still trying to figure it out. But it's okay. We'll go on. We got the Cowboys and the Jags. Okay, Jags have been very hot lately.
Yeah, they have.
Cowboys are as we just spoke, they were dealing with the Texans, and it took a 98-yard drive to win the game.
Dak just wanted to show his greatness.
And that's fine.
That's all.
That's fine. But I think with a better quality team, because let's face it, the Texans.
And we've beaten quality teams this year, by the way.
Okay.
And we have. Yes, we have. But
You
yeah,
have,
but go ahead. Yeah,
but you still have some games to go. You have some important games to go, right? Because how
yes,
many
we
more
do.
games do you have that are divisional foes? We
We got
obviously know
Washington.
Christmas Eve. You have
We
the
got
Eagles,
Washington.
and you
Yeah,
got
we got
Washington.
yeah, and then
And
we have
and
the Titans in the AFC.
and by the way, the Washington Commanders, you scoff at that team like you don't even think that team is even worthy of a
No,
discussion.
I do think they're good, but I think at the end of the day, Heineke is a what you call in my mind a very good quarterback that's inspirational. He fires guys up, but at some point he's going to be Heineke. And we know how to beat Heineke. We own we own that division, sir. That's what
Got
you
it.
don't understand.
I
The
thought there was
NFC
another team
East
that was.
we
I
own.
thought another team was.
Listen, they beat us
Uh,
without Dak. Dak owns the Eagles. Listen, they come into Dallas. We're gonna see. Trust me. I believe it's gonna be a very different outcome. And don't sleep, because if the Eagles lose, mess around, they'll lose to Chicago on Sunday. That's it. That's all it is. And listen, wouldn't you want us to do that? Don't you want to see the Eagles fail? I mean, you have a chance to be the #1 seed in the NFC. I mean, so you should want that. You should be a little bit
listen,
of a Cowboy lover,
no,
at least for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, you should be rooting
no,
for us.
no, thank you. No thanks. Because unlike you, we don't have to have a rabbit foot in our back pocket, and we need all these different things to align for us. Whoever we play, we play. Whoever come wherever we need to go, because our defense travels well, really well. Our fan base travels really well, so we're not concerned
Yeah,
about who we have to play.
that's
I
true.
know one thing:
Uh-huh.
you don't want to play us in the first round. And
Not the
and
first round.
and if
No,
we're
I don't.
honest, you don't want to play us at all,
No,
really.
I
You,
want to. Oh, I know. No, no, no. We want to
um,
see you. We want to see you. I
um,
just can't live with the fact that Dallas getting exited early in the first round again. That I'm going to have a lot of issues with that. You might end up having to do the playoffs into the Super Bowl by yourself if that happens.
yes, I know it.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
it.
I mean, listen, y'all look good. I don't want to see y'all. Y'all are the most dangerous team right now to play, no question, hands down. And Purdy looks good. Your team looks good. I will give you that. But I still question the fact that y'all haven't really seen quality opponents. And I think we'll see how the playoffs unfold. We'll see how Purdy does, because you're gonna stick with him, right? Are you thinking y'all gonna bring Garoppolo back in? I know we get ready to
No,
close this segment
I
here.
don't think
You
so.
don't think
I
so?
don't think so. I think they're going to stick with him, pretty
Okay.
much, because at this point he is building, confidence. He's building a really great rapport with all of the skilled players. Why would you at that point, you know, uh,
Yeah.
try to change that? I mean, although
Right.
Garoppolo is a winner, I'm not going
Right.
to knock that.
Right.
But Purdy, we're gonna keep rocking with Purdy.
Okay.
And now, so
Right.
we're talking about the Cowboys and the Jags. What do you think your Cowboys will do against the Jags? I
No,
mean,
I
they
think
have
we'll be
ETN. He's a good running back.
very
Of
good running
course,
back.
Trevor Lawrence can use his legs. He has a good arm. They have some good
Yeah, and he's
receivers.
been playing very well.
What will
Yeah.
you guys be able to do?
Well, I think we'll be fine. I think, again, we'll have to shut Kirk down, their receiver. We'll have we'll have Trayvon there. We'll be able to cover him a little. Listen again.
He's
See,
not a
there you go. There
shutdown
you go,
anything.
making all these facial expressions. You know what I'm trying to say? There you go. But again, Trayvon, for people don't know, he takes their best receiver, any team's best receiver, out of the game, or at least makes them ineffective. Okay. Yes, I know the word shutdown, and I appreciate you saying that, because that's what real sport fans like yourself understand. We got to be careful when we throw these terms around, right? Shutdown shouldn't be applied to everybody, okay? But Trayvon is a receiver that can take a player and make him ineffective. So he'll get some catches, but he won't make a difference. But I think for Dallas in this game, we again, you give him a lot of speed and feed. I'll tandem in the backfield, give him a lot of speed and feed, and I hope you still got Pollard on your
Of course I
fantasy.
do. I'm starting
Oh,
him
okay.
this
Oh,
week.
yeah. Listen, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's it. Start him, because we're gonna use a lot of that, and again, and just kind of neutralize. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's anything intricate per se, other than Dallas being able to run the ball. I do think Dallas has to be careful with in terms of Dak Prescott. I don't like what he's been saying in the news in recent weeks, and even this week, with these aggressive throws down the middle of the field. Dak is leading the league in interceptions since he's been back. He's thrown 8 already, and
You don't say.
it's not good. Yeah, well, I mean, he's being aggressive, and he says he's going to remain aggressive. He's not going to not be aggressive, but I think he's having
And he's
some
going to be home
problems
soon.
reading. Yeah. No,
He's
well,
gonna find himself home in the
no.
playoffs.
Well, yeah. Well, after we beat Jacksonville, which will clinch a playoff spot for us, so we'll no longer be on the bubble and the hunt. We'll be in the playoffs after we defeat Jacksonville, and then we work on seeding at that point. So he'll go home, like you said, and we'll get ready for some seeding to get ready for the next game for them feebles. So it's all good. It's all good. But I think we should be okay. But I'm not underestimating D. So in my closing, Jacksonville, very good team, formidable opponent. They should not be taken lightly. And in fact, and then, Trevor Lawrence is playing good. 10 touchdowns, okay, in the last 5 games. No picks. He's throwing the ball really, really well. So, yeah, we definitely have to be careful. We just got to get some pressure, and we got to neutralize their run because, sometimes we can't stop the run, D.
There you go. Yeah, can't stop the run.
Can't stop the run. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, well, do you have a score?
Do I have a score for the Cowboys? I got Dallas winning. I think Dallas is going to win this one. I like to do odd numbers, right? I get a little odd, right? So I'm going to go 32. No, I'm going to go 29. 29-19 Dallas.
Oh, so that's a pretty sizable. It's so 10 points, 2 scores. That's a pretty easy game.
Still a 2-possession game.
It'll be easy.
Look, the score won't be indicative of the lack of struggle that we'll have. At some point, Dallas should pull away. And again, I'm hoping we don't play it out to our opponents early. We just got to make sure we stay consistent through the game. If Dallas does that, then yeah, that 29-19 won't look close. It'll be, a garbage touchdown at the end for a meaningless touchdown for the Jaguars.
Okay. I have the score 27-24 Dallas. I do have Dallas winning.
Okay.
Ultimately, I think they had better win because if they don't, it could get really ugly for them. I mean, they need to win this game. It is imperative that they win if they want any shot at winning their division, which I don't think they will win. But I do say this, and I had said this weeks ago, I do think the Eagles have at least another loss, on their schedule. And obviously they're going to be favored throughout the rest of the season, regular season. But I think there's a loss coming. And Chicago can do it. If they get on, if they start running the ball, because I still don't believe in the Eagles' run defense just yet. I think you can still run on them.
Yeah.
And if you can apply enough pressure to make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable, I think that it kind of changes the dynamic of, their whole offense.
I agree.
So, okay, we agree that Dallas is going to win. Let's talk about a big game in the AFC. Let's talk about the Bills and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. The Dolphins have had one of the toughest 3 games on their schedule. I mean, that I can think of really in the NFL. This is very, very tough. I mean, you have the Niners, then you have the Chargers, then you have the Bills. So you got 2 teams on the West Coast, then you go from the West Coast, even though it's not 75, 80 degrees, but it's in the 50s and 60s, and you go straight to Orchard Park where it's snow and freezing. Yeah. And mind you, your team's home base is in Miami. So, it's cold for everyone that's playing, just so we're fair. It's not just one team is, in a controlled, heated field, and the other team is weathering the elements. But at the same time, it's still very cold. This game is vitally important for seeding, right?
Yep.
Because I think the Dolphins are 8-5, and if they lose this, they drop to 8-6, which would really kind of put them on. They would be in the hunt again. I think it would put them in the hunt. They would no longer be any type of lock for a playoff spot, or their seeding would be obviously in question. Right. So my question to you is: this Bills versus Dolphins game, who needs this win more?
Well, I think, if you're looking at it from the perspective of just having to get out the funk, right? Like you just mentioned the Dolphins and their schedule. the Dolphins need this game, right? To lose 3 in a row and then lose a divisional game, obviously with the Bills, that would be devastating to them because again they're 2 games behind right now. That would put them back to 3 games, and then it really looks tough because you got Baltimore and Cincinnati, and you still got the Jets, and you still got New England. Like everybody in the AFC East is still in contention for a playoff spot, right? And then you still got the AFC North between Baltimore and Cleveland, which both have, Baltimore and Cincinnati, which both have the same record, right? So you still got a lot of contention. It's very congested, when you start looking after Buffalo and obviously Kansas City and so forth. But then you still got the Chargers are still pretty much in, and they're sitting at 7-6. So, if you're the Dolphins, this is important, so this is clearly way more important for them. But I would also be concerned too for Buffalo. They need to win this game as well. Buffalo is a team that's not been dominant like everybody thought they would be this year. I think they've obviously they found ways to win, and they're going to always win, and that way that they find is through Josh Allen. Their defense is still top 5, good defense, but again, I still think that they're still a beatable team, and I still think there's some unpredictability with them a little bit. So, but it's look, Tua said it snowed in Alabama as well, so
And let me just say one thing: the Bills just picked up, talk about T.Y. Hilton blowing the dust off somebody and bringing him out of the woodwork. They just picked up Cole Beasley and John Brown.
Yeah, John Brown. Oh, I didn't know about the John Brown.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Wow.
So obviously Gabe Davis ain't doing it for them, right?
Right.
Because it has, based off how he played last season, it's definitely been a decline in his play, being consistent. Because, coming into the season, he was expected to be on the opposite side of Diggs and really ball out. But that hasn't worked so far. So to add this late in the season with no significant injuries, right?
Right.
Some guys off the trash heap and bring them in. That speaks of a little bit of that's kind of a desperate move if you think about it.
The Cole acquisition isn't too bad. Obviously he's familiar with their system, and so he kind of a plug and play guy depending upon what his conditioning is like.
But he was washed. He was washed when he was with Tampa Bay. He played 2.5 quarters, and Tom Brady said, "Get him out of here."
Yeah. Well, you know what it is with Cole. Cole has a lot of other. I know because he's a Dallas guy. He's been there for a long time. He kind of threw some dirt on us when he left. Cole has a lot of issues, in terms of how he sees the world and sees life, and he kind of was thinking he can get more than what he was actually worth, even out there on the market. And I kind of felt even Buffalo sort of may have overpaid him a little bit, but he did produce for the first few years or so when he was in Buffalo. So he looked pretty good. But but I don't think it's a bad move by them. But to your point, Gabe definitely has not been that dude, or at least that second receiver that they would hope he would turn into based on last year's performance.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. Do you have a score for the Bills Dolphins?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go because there's gonna be a whole lot of running in that game, and so at least I'm assuming it would be. I'm gonna go Buffalo 23-16. Yeah, 23-16.
Okay, I have this game a lot higher. Okay. I think from a standpoint of Miami's philosophy going into this game is they need to score and score early. They need those big. Yeah, they have to really utilize Waddle and Tyreek Hill quick, right? Get them, get something going, because
I agree. That's
if Tua tries to hold the ball and try to wait for plays to develop and whatever, or if they get behind, it's a wrap. In that cold, people that already don't want to play in those temperatures to lose, people are going to start giving up on and do I really want to take this hit in 2-degree weather? Do I really want to? We down by 2 touchdowns. Is this worth it, or should we just? Because I think in cold weather, people start packing it away. They pack it up all right, it's over. We lost this game, and then I think the Bills will just pile on. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Right.
I think from Josh Allen and the Bills standpoint, they haven't looked really explosive as far as scoring over the last probably 4 weeks.
Nope.
So I think they're going to put on a display. They really want to make a statement in the AFC East as, hey, we're top dog, we're top billing. So I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I think I like the score to be 35-24.
Mm.
35-24 Bills. I think they're going to
Okay.
try to they're going to definitely, and both teams, honestly, both teams could top 30 points. I would not be
Oh
surprised
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They're both.
because
Yeah.
they're
Definitely.
going to have to really, because the Bills, you can pass on the Bills, and of course you can run on the Bills. So I think it is more imperative for the Dolphins to get out to a fast start. If it's, you can't settle for field goals, you're going to have to put up points, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Josh Allen is if push comes to shove, if those receivers aren't open, unlike Tua, he'll be able to run the ball. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? And he
Right.
can make up the difference because
Right.
the Bills don't really have a running game. They have
Right.
Devin Singletary and they have James Cook, but those aren't really every
Yeah.
they're not CMCs. You get what I'm saying? They're not
No. No.
CMCs.
No. Definitely not.
Just joking. I
Definitely
had to
not.
put that in there real quick.
Definitely not.
So I think we'll move on to let's talk about there's some other bubble games that have some playoff implications. There are teams that's in the hunt on the bubble. But one thing we'll just highlight:
Mm-hmm.
Mike White, who has been balling out for the Jets.
Yep.
He took. I mean, first of all, Zach Wilson. He wanted to absolve himself for any responsibility from them losing to the Patriots, right? And that
Absolutely.
rubbed teammates the wrong way because being that by being in that position as a quarterback, you have to fall on the sword for stuff. Even if a receiver drops it, tight end, the running back fumbles, you're the leader
Sure.
of the team. You're the face of
Sure.
the league. You're the
Sure.
number 2 pick. You have to
Mhm.
eat that. And the
Yep.
fact that he wasn't willing to eat that and he took no responsibility, even if it was fake, even if he didn't feel that he was responsible one drop,
Right.
based on the position, he should have said, yes, I got to do better. Because at least your teammates wouldn't feel like you were throwing them under the bus. But he said
Right.
no. Move fast forward to Mike White because Zach was hurt. Mike White comes in, balls out. I mean, the energy that he brought to the team, everybody is just totally charged, ready to
Right.
make a playoff push.
Right.
Mike White is getting hammered last week. Mike White was taking shot after shot where he had,
I mean,
I think,
it was bad.
I don't know if he had internal bleeding, but he had to go to the hospital after the game.
Yep.
But several times he got hit hard enough to be out momentarily, but he came back and kept fighting.
Showed some character. Showed a lot of
Moving
gut.
forward, the Mike White is still pushing the play. Robert Saleh had announced that they're going to save him from himself. So ultimately, they're going to bench him in favor of Zach Wilson. Now, my question to you is, how does it feel to be back in the saddle when you know your whole team doesn't like you and they really don't want you to play? They prefer the backup quarterback over you. How does he correct that? How do you think he can, number one, correct that? How can he play to kind of win the locker room back or at least have them want to put forth their best effort? What do you say?
Well, I say if you're Zach Wilson on your end of that spectrum, you have to show some contrition in that sense. You have to be humble. You have to be able to really win your locker room and your teammates back by just being able to just say, "Hey guys, look, I messed up." And I don't know if he said that already. Maybe he has. But it was a little awkward still at that time because he essentially got benched, right? So Mike White comes in. So it's like, all right, well, yeah, whatever, Zach. We rolling with the kid. And Mike's been playing some good football, right? So
Very good.
it's like, okay, whatever Zach may have said or whatever apologies he issued or he's showing some contrition and being apologetic about what he did and that sort of thing and not taking accountability. All right, yeah, whatever. But no one's really paying attention to it, right? Because Mike's playing well. Well, now the tables have turned. Because I always felt at the end of the day, right? Was Mike going to really be the future of the Jets? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think so, right? You still got a lot invested in Zach.
Well, I thought he would have held his job as long as I thought for this season he would have held that job as long as he didn't get hurt.
Well, yeah, I agree. But at the end of the day, right? Knowing the brass, and I agree with you there. I mean, he didn't show any signs of declination that he was going to start playing bad at some point, right? It's clear injury. I mean, the guy got, just obliterated in the Bills game. So the reality is that if you're the Jets now, you have to get behind him, right? However you felt about the kid 3 weeks ago, you can't think that way anymore. He's gonna need the support. So whatever apologies he gave, you can be like, hey, Zach, what did you say to us 3 weeks ago when we weren't really paying attention to you, but you apologized? Can we just get that one more time? And then when we good, we got you for the rest of the week. We'll be good. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, because you got to support the kid. You want to win. It's playoff implications. The team has an opportunity to make the playoffs, and so you got to get behind them. So there's got to be a meeting of the mind. Both Zach and the Jets, the players, his teammates, they got to come into a medium, and they got to be able to make that work. And I think that they will. I think, look, they'll get behind them. And you know what? I think you're going to actually see Zach play well. I actually do. I think now he needed that humility. He needed that shot. Now that entitlement is not there anymore. And he knows that there's a guy who wants to play. And once his spleen gets healed by next week or so, he'll be back in. Okay. Once they replace his entire stomach and his intestines get, redone over, he'll be back to playing. And then, and then that's it. And so Zach, now he's playing with a guy over his shoulder, which wasn't the case before. So yeah.
I will say this from a fantasy standpoint. Okay. I hear what you're saying, but I say from a fantasy standpoint, every Jet player, other than the defense, you downgrade them. You downgrade Elijah Moore, downgrade Garrett Wilson, downgrade all of them, because they don't have. It's amazing how a backup has instant chemistry, and the starter, the high pick, they don't have a natural chemistry. And there's a lot to be said about effort. Certain things, the 50-50 ball, the ball that's kind of up there for grabs. Yeah. If a player they like you and they want you to succeed, and in turn they succeed, they'll go up for that, or that slant across the middle. They know they might get their head popped off, but they'll go for that and they'll make that catch and hold on to the ball because, we're in this together. But when you separate yourself and you create this, big me, little you, they're not feeling that. They won't perform for you at all. So we'll see. I think he's going to, all of the stuff that you said, being, humbled and apologetic to his teammates, the proof is in the pudding. He's going to have to, he's outside of a kind of a helicopter dive into the end zone like John Elway. He's going to have to put his body to be burned for them to really feel that he really is a team first person. Because
you need to go out there with no helmet on. Just play with no helmet. Just show.
Right, exactly.
Take it for the team.
Yeah, just take everything for the team, guys.
Right.
So time will tell. We'll see what happens with, Zach Wilson and the Jets versus Detroit. Now, if there's any team that you could get right on, it's Detroit. Yeah. They've been playing good, but you can get right with them.
I think you can, but that's that team is playing really, really well, and they're gutsy, and like we just said earlier, they've got playoff sights as well, for whatever little slim shot that they've got. But
they're a dome team, and it's going to be cold in New York. Yeah, and it's still Jared Goff, right? So at the end of the day, you got a shot. When you have a defense and your defense travels, their Jets are playing at home, the crowd is going to be into it. You got a shot. So this should give Zach Wilson the confidence that he needs to, sling it all over the yard. He has some, mobility. He's going to have to use everything in the toolbox in order to get that W. And as we all know, in basketball, football, baseball, everything, when there's dysfunction, and clearly there's dysfunction in the Jets organization, winning cures all, right? So if he gets a W, and it's in a lot of ways it's because of him, that will bode well towards them. That's the olive branch that he can extend. A W, yeah. At the end of it, it needs to be a W on the end of that olive branch.
I agree.
Not excuses, not we'll do better or mumbling. At the press conference. Just
and to your point, real quick, I'll make this point 10 seconds less. To your point, not only will they have to win for him to really win that locker room back, but he's got to play well. Like, in other words, if
Exactly.
the offense is putrid and it's not scoring and they inept all the way through and the defense still has to bail them out and they get a victory, it's still not going to bode well for him. So you're right. This is the perfect opportunity. Zach's got to put up some numbers. He really has to. I mean, I didn't say he got to throw for 400 yards and 5 TDs, but he has to be very efficient and he's got to have a better game. He's got to put up more than 2 yards and a half. That's for sure.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's now turn to the NBA.
NBA.
Okay, well, listen. Let's talk about. There's a team that plays at the Crib, right? And they're formerly Staples Center. Yeah, that's it. If LeBron did that, they might. Yeah, exactly. Anthony Davis needs to practice. He needs to shoot 1,000 free throws after the game to get. You know what? I'll tell you.
Well, he's a really good free throw shooter. That's the crazy part.
If he had done what Giannis did after, right? When you lose a game and you come and you lose a game and you practice after, that's the reason. I know it's funny, right? But listen, what is going on with the Lakers' late game woes? Listen. Lakers I was surprised they came out looking so good. They had an opportunity to win those games.
To beat the Sixers and to beat Boston. That would have been just, listen, I would have probably been exaggerating the future of the Lakers this season.
Yes.
All right. Had we won those 2 games,
that 76ers game was ridiculous. It was unbelievable.
Oh my God. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was just so excited. I was losing my mind. I was like, because I really just got disinterested at some point. But that would have been the comeback of the comebacks, because that was just awesome. And not only did, if Austin Reeves just hit 1 free throw, that's it.
Yeah.
He had 3 free throws to shoot. He hits 1, and he's a 90.
He's a great.
He's a great
pressure bust pipes though,
and the pipes bust wide open.
There was yes, and so listen, we had our last show we were talking about the state of the Lakers and what the future held for them and what they were gonna and our guest explained to a great degree.
Yes, he did.
All of the possibilities. Shout out to Ngai Kroll. Listen, we had a full dissection of what the I'm getting ready to say the Cowboys. Because they're very similar.
They're on your mind.
Let me tell you why. Because they're big names and they haven't produced.
And they have a lot of championships.
And
a lot of fandom, and they draw ratings. They pretty much are the marquee faces of their respective sport. But go ahead.
It doesn't always equate to winning, but yeah, you're right. So, I mean, what do they do now? They have I think a 6-game road trip. I think they're about to start a 6-game road trip. And they start tonight with who do they play tonight?
We got Denver tonight.
They got Denver tonight. And Anthony Davis is a game time decision. I think they do that every time just because, listen, the Lakers only go as far as Anthony Davis will take them.
Well, we've seen that, right?
Clearly, LeBron's best days are behind him. And he's
and that's okay. Yeah.
He's actually, if you remember, I guess that was, I forget what video game that was, but it was double dribble when they would do like dunks and you could keep pausing and unpausing and it would just be like in slow motion.
Yeah.
LeBron is, right before our eyes. He's still an excellent player, still great. He's still going to pass Kareem. All of those accolades, pass Magic, all of that, but he can no longer carry a team. And I don't want to pile on and beat a dead horse, but LeBron,
he's 38. I mean, he's not supposed to. No one's expecting him to do that anyway.
Right? Well, no, we don't expect him to do that. But to a large part and to a large degree, LeBron still being the face of the NBA and being on the Lakers, the expectations are the expectations, right? Or are you, as a Laker fan, a lifelong Laker fan, accepting mediocrity and defeat? Is that
it's not mediocrity? It's just an adjustment. I mean, the man is 38. I mean, he can't carry. I mean, he's playing better than most 21-year-olds or 25 or 30-year-olds in the league. at his great, because LeBron is just great. I mean, we just have to give him and just acknowledge how great of a player he is, even at this stage. Defensively, you could definitely see how much he's declined, but you got to adjust the expectations, right? I mean, it's not mediocrity. It's just that, to your point, AD has got to now step up, and he's got to play through every possible ailment that happens to him, because we need him to play to that level. He's got to be the guy to take that team. And right now, we kind of look like the Pelicans AD, for the most part, because, he's scoring, he's doing good, and we've been winning. But at the end of the day, the expectations are, AD, you have to carry this team. LeBron can't do it anymore. And I think every Laker fan is pretty much okay with that. I mean, that's really been the situation when we traded for him. We knew this day was coming with LeBron. Now it's just about stats and passing Kareem. So, we're okay with that.
So okay. I mean, all right.
We're okay with that. I mean, we want to win, but we're
No.
not winning.
No. It came out. You actually revealed how Laker fans view LeBron's time there. You got a ring, a bubble ring. Hey, cool. It's cool. A ring is a ring. I'm not knocking it. A ring is a ring. And now the rest of his career in LA is about just achievements.
Well, until somebody can, because here's the key, right? The fact that we're focusing on LeBron's achievements only lets us know that AD is not doing what he should be doing, though he is now, but we need to see it all the way through a season, right? AD can give you spurts, and he can give you a whole month of he could be the NBA player of the month and put up ridiculous numbers like he has, but we need to see that all the way into April, right? So so what happens? He can't do that. He'll miss a game, he'll get hurt, whatever have you. And now what do we focus on? LeBron passing Kareem, because LeBron can't carry the team. So the fact that we even talking about LeBron and his accomplishments only goes to show that there's still the fact that AD is not risen to the place where I feel Laker fans can say he's the guy that can carry us to the promised land. Plus, there's still, and at the end of the day, the surrounding crew is still not good enough to go to that next level. They're playing decent, but they're not good enough.
Right.
No.
And you accurately said till April, which is good, because finals is usually in June. So that's cool. I'm glad that you. That was very accurate.
I was just basically saying the regular season. You know what? Yeah, you know.
Oh man.
Yeah, you listening real intent. Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah. We'll see, because the Lakers are 11-16, right? So if they play well with this 6-game road trip, they can be above 500.
Well, actually, you know what? The 6-game road trip actually starts on Christmas Day. So we've got Denver tonight at home. Washington will be at home. And then we've got Phoenix and Sacramento on the road. Then we got Charlotte at home. Then that 6-game road trip that starts is going to be on Christmas Day with Dallas. Got it. Be on TV. And then Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, and Charlotte. So, yeah.
Got it.
And those we'll see how.
You got some winnable games. I mean,
winnable games
at some point, you guys can get to 500. I mean, I'm hopeful. I really am. I'm hopeful.
Can KD carry a team? That's the question.
Well, are you ready? Let's talk about Brooklyn now.
Let's go to Brooklyn.
Let's talk about Brooklyn really quick.
Yeah.
Quietly, very quietly. I mean, listen, unassumingly, they are they're the 4th seed in the East, right?
Yep.
They're a half a game out of being the 3 seed, right? So we have obviously the Celtics, we have the Bucks, we have Cleveland, and we have the Nets. Okay, so after all of the noise, after all of the distractions, after everybody, hey, listen, the whole laundry list of things you got to do to get back in the league, the fact that you think that KD's not a leader and our team is too small and Claxton weighs 112 pounds, we are 17-12.
Yeah,
5 games over 500, right?
Yeah,
17-12. And we are 4th in the East. And I know what people say. Oh, well, the West is so difficult. It's tough. The West, man, if we would be in the 4th in the West, we would be the 4th seed in the West also. Hey, listen, 17-12.
Yeah, because Phoenix is 17-12 at the 4th spot too. Yeah. Okay.
So that says, what that says to me is, and there's some, believe me, behind the scenes, the Nets are working out some deals, and I think we're going to have, before the All-Star break, we're going to have a little more firepower, perhaps a little more size, and if I'm not mistaken,
Uh-huh.
Milwaukee, who was ahead of them, just lost by 1,000 points to
Yeah, they had a
Memphis.
bad game. Yeah,
They
Memphis.
had a
Yeah,
very
Memphis
bad
put it on
game.
them. Oh yeah,
And
God,
so one of my
God, they
boys,
stink.
who's a big Bucks fan,
Right.
he wants to immediately blame Middleton. And Middleton is not the problem because you need Middleton is just working himself back into the system, getting reacclimated. He was out injured. He's getting back. You need Middleton. He's vitally important to the success of because you need those points that he could provide. Yes,
Absolutely.
sometimes he's a defensive liability. Sometimes he turns over the ball. Sometimes he gets up in the air and doesn't have a plan for the ball.
Right.
But down the stretch, when you play teams that have, two-headed monsters, some three-headed monsters, you're going to need that 25 points that he can put out.
You better believe it. Yeah,
So I say all that to say
I
the
agree.
Nets are quietly doing what I said they would do.
Well, let me ask you this question here, D, with your Nets, by the way. But this is kind of a league-wide issue, right? So the Nets got fined, and I know you saw that for not benching, but not starting 5 of their players, key players at that. I mean, Harris sat, KD, you had
We played the
Kyrie.
Pacers and 8 players sat. Now I don't know
Well,
how many. I think it was maybe four starters, 5 starters,
yeah.
but a total of 8 regular rotation players sat, and we still got the W.
Well, no. You got the double, which is which is an indictment on the Pacers for that matter.
But it's a testament of the Nets. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, you know what I'm saying, but what's your thought about? I mean, this whole load management thing and resting guys and all that stuff. The poor guy that comes and buys tickets wanting to see KD play and Kyrie play, and it's particularly when it's against another conference where you only go to that city once. What's your thoughts on that, man?
One thing I disagree with is away games sitting players. If the player
Right.
home games, okay, it happens, right? I'm not crazy about it in the
Yeah, even with that
big picture, but
Right.
definitely as you just explained, when people are expecting said star player from another team that
Right.
may only see them once or twice comes and these tickets
Right.
are expensive. It's not cheap to go. It doesn't matter if you're in the nosebleeds, floor seats, everything is expensive. And when you add in parking, concession, at the whole experience,
The whole
maybe you want to
experience.
buy a jersey, maybe you want to get a hat, maybe
Yeah.
it gets very
Right.
pricey.
It
And
does.
so I think it is not fair to the fan for these players to take road games off.
I
Now,
agree.
home games it happens, but road games I think especially is bad because I think Steph Curry was accused of that. They had
Mhm.
sat and people wanted to see Steph Curry, but I think he did something. I think he gave them some type of ticket or something so that they could see him the next time he came around because it wasn't a
Okay.
one-time game. It was a game
Right.
that they would see them later on
They
in
would
the
see them.
season.
Okay, so it was an in-conference game. Okay.
Correct. So I think
Right.
he did
Right.
that. But outside of that, people have an expectation. They want to see the best. And
Yeah.
people, from a standpoint, want to see the best players play each other. They want to
Mhm.
see how their particular team matches up. And
Right.
another thing is sometimes a player or a fan is out of state from the team that they love. So for me, I'm in California, but if the Nets come to play the Warriors, I would definitely want to see that game. So imagine if I go to that game and KD and Kyrie are on the bench, in street clothes. It's like it's not the same.
That's
It's not
definitely
fair
not.
to the fan. But I
Definitely
realize
not.
if you're injured, then you do what you
Right.
need to
That's
do.
understandable.
But if
Right.
it's just I just don't want to do back to backs like that. That's
Yeah,
no
with
dice.
yeah, no dice. And I agree with that too. Because I think even on a back-to-back, I think you can still play right in a back-to-back. Maybe not the whole game. Perhaps you can come in and whatever play us. You can manage your minutes or something.
Right.
This is when you're on the road, at least at the minimum on the road. I still think you should, which is when most of your back-to-backs will be anyway on the road, right? I believe,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken. So you can still play though, right? I
Right.
mean, Jordan, what did he play like 7, 8, 9 seasons of every
82
game.
games, yeah.
82 games. I mean, and they didn't have the technology back then that these guys had. I mean, these guys got walking masseuse following them around, massaging their necks and backs and hips as they're moving and walking all through the place. They've got all the special type equipment and
Legs,
everything.
hips, and bodies.
Yeah,
Bodies.
exactly. Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I'm saying, I'm just, I'm not a big fan of that. I think the NBA is going to definitely have to look a little more into that, and I don't think the fines are enough because you talk about billionaire teams and owners and players. They don't care about that. You know what Jacques Vaughn's excuse was? He said, "Hey, I want that fan to think about I'm looking out for KD's future, so that the fans should take solace in that." Wasn't really happy with that answer though, but nevertheless.
No, it's not a good answer, and it's not good enough when I've a family of three or a family of four
Right.
spends $1,200 on a game to
Right.
get some decent tickets,
Correct.
and then the player that you're so looking for to play
Right.
is he has on a velour suit at the end of the bench, or he has a diamond
Right.
encrusted chain as
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
LeBron
Looking like
would.
Ben Simmons, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Oh,
Right.
well, or LeBron, right? I'm just, it's all good, man.
More like AD street clothes, right?
Exactly. Street clothes. Street clothes. Well, listen, man. One more bit of news. We're going to talk about something culture related, man. Very, very sad situation. Twitch boss. He is a celebrity DJ that was DJing for the Ellen DeGeneres show for many years. At the age of 40, died by suicide. And he leaves a wife and three kids. Very, very sad situation. I mean, I think he was the first winner of So You Think You Can Dance. He's been He's been a choreographer. He's been in several dance movies. Just everybody that speaks of him, of his life, just glowing remarks about how nice and how great he was. When you see him on TV, he always had a big smile on his face. And that just goes to show that you never know what people are truly going through.
Right.
And it's incredibly sad that a person so young, would die by suicide. And I say this to say that as men, as Black men, we really have to prioritize our mental health, men in general, because this goes across color lines. Because men have always been taught that I keep things to myself, not to make themselves vulnerable, not to talk about things, but obviously it's vitally important because there are stresses that go on in our lives, and everyone needs someone to talk to. And it's just so sad when situations like this happen. I was scrolling and I came across the story, and I don't know him personally, obviously, but it's just incredibly heartbreaking. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree with you, D. And like you, our thoughts and prayers with his family and friends and all those that were obviously deeply impacted by his loss. It's tragic, and to see this happen in the fashion in which it did, as you said, death by suicide, and we it's something that we don't, I think, although, well, let me retract that. I will say this. I do think that mental health has taken more of a forefront in our society, unlike it's been, say, when maybe perhaps when we were growing up and the generations prior to us, under that same ideology or thought process with men in particular, as you just eloquently stated about how we didn't, address our concerns and things that we were feeling. We would internalize a lot of things, particularly Black men, and we would just kind of, just work through it, and everything was about just getting this and accomplishing that. And this young man had all that, right? This was a young man who was accomplished not only monetarily and with success in his field, but he had a beautiful family, right? And beautiful marriage and kids. And I think what happens is we do need to invest in that. have that time to get the help that you need, to get counseling. I actually go to therapy twice a month myself.
Right.
It's been awesome. You get a chance to kind of realize and come into another arena of who you are, and tapping into the things that concern you, and really begin to put life into perspective, right? Because all these things that with social media, entertainment, they have a way of reshaping people and taking them out of who they are, and getting them to now have to subscribe to these standards that are lofty, and in most cases even unattainable, because the way this industry is, particularly in entertainment, it's hard. But not only for entertainers, where that's an ever evolving industry, but just people in general, 9 to 5, working, trying to pay their bill, taking care of their family. Listen, you and I are men of faith. We pray, we trust God for healing and strength and stability, and that's what I believe will help us, coming in together as a community through prayer, counseling, therapy, and just having these transparent moments, and not being ashamed of what you're going through. That's the big thing. Don't let
Yes.
that thing stop you from talking to someone. And if there is anyone, Don, I'll just say this, that is challenging, or being challenged with suicidal thoughts of things of that nature, you can dial 988. That is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Okay. So definitely reach out and speak to someone, if you don't have any family or friends or anyone that might be immediate to your access there. But there is help available.
Excellent. Well said. Once again, this has been a fantastic show.
Yes.
It was a pleasure. We'd like to once again thank Infinite Audio for the music. We'd
IA in the
like
building.
to thank Kingdom Creative for the production. Without this, we would not be
Yes.
possible.
Wouldn't be possible.
And we want to thank you guys.
Yes.
We'd like to thank everyone for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Once again, I'd like to thank Rod. Thank you for joining us. Until next time,
We appreciate it.
peace.
Peace.